Hello everyone, this is Aaron Fitz from ATF Gaming and welcome back to another predictions video. Today we will be discussing my 2019 NASCAR chase predictions. Obviously we got the Daytona 500 coming up this weekend and this should be coming out on Friday, so the first truck race will be tonight. Xfinity race will be tomorrow, etc. So, got to get out my yearly predictions. Last week we kind of reviewed how absolutely awful my predictions were last year. I will not be doing the 10 bold predictions video like I did last year because that was an absolute disaster. But I will do the chase predictions video, which was okay last season. But yeah, let's dive right in here. I basically took the exact same slideshow that I had last year and just changed the name, so same kind of structure. We'll start off with the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series, last season with that sponsorship. So we got the no-doubters, the Martin Truexes, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano. Unless if something catastrophic happens, all 6 of those are going to be in the playoffs. The most likelies involve Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Eric Almirola, Jimmy Johnson, and Clint Boyer. Now, this is also assuming that Ford is going to be equally as strong as they were last year. But considering the new package and what I saw at the test at Atlanta, or Las Vegas, excuse me, it looks like Ford's going to be pretty strong this year with the new Mustang. So, Jimmy Johnson looks pretty strong so far based on the clash, obviously controversial ending, but still, otherwise all of these I think will be fine. Moving on to the underdogs, or probably the picks that'll be, probably the ones that I'll get wrong. William Byron, I think he's going to have a bounce back season with Chad Knaus as the crew chief. I think he'll really kind of take off this season again. I think the new package will benefit him and all of Hendrick Motorsports. I think that's really going to help. That's why I also got Alex Bowman in there. Daniel Suarez, I think, is going to have a good season with Stuart Haas. I think they'll definitely be very strong on the mile and a halves. Austin Dillon, again, with the new package, he seems to really understand drafting and how to get it done. And with the new package, I think Richard Childress's, the Roush Fenways, they're kind of like that second tier. Will kind of be bumped into contention with, the Hendricks, the Gibbses, the Penske's, etc. So I think Austin Dillon will probably stand a good chance realistically. Now my last pick was Denny Hamlin. I was very close to having Denny Hamlin be kind of a shocking elimination, but I do think he'll be fine. Joe Gibbs seems strong again. Again, this is the beginning of the season. We've only seen one practice session on mile and a half and the Daytona qualify in the Clash. So we'll keep Denny Hamlin in there. So let's take a look at some of the notable drivers that will not be making the chase. We got Kurt Busch. I think he's going to struggle with Chip Ganassi Racing, similar to what Jamie McMurray struggled. Similar to how Jamie McMurray struggled last year. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's one that probably, if he can get the new package down, could make it. Same with Ryan Newman. Eric Jones, I think he'll... I don't know. It's so tough with the Cup Series because there's so many... There's like 20 or 22 good competitive cars, honestly. So Paul Menard, it's kind of same as last year. Ryan Newman... And Daniel Hemrick, I mean, he could be good this year. It all depends on, especially with Stenhouse, Newman, Hemrick, Dillon. Those, like I said earlier, I think this new mile and a half package could bring those guys up to the same level as the top tier teams. Will they produce a lot of wins? I don't know. But I feel like they're going to be a lot more competitive. So that's what we got for the Cup Series. Let's move on to the Xfinity Series here. Both the Xfinity and Truck Series has a very big differential between competitive cars and uncompetitive cars. So this was really a fairly easy predictions video to make for these two lower series. So we got the most likely. The Christopher Bells, Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer, Noah Gragson in his first season, Tyler Reddick, and Austin Cindric, even though I can't stand him, he's running a full season in Penske, he's going to be fine. Especially with the roster we have. I don't think any of these guys, barring injury, suspension, or anything like that, will have any issue making the playoffs. Tyler Reddick might be a close one because Richard Childress has shown not to be as strong. But, I mean, Daniel Hemrick was fine last year, so we'll see. But all those drivers, I think, will be fine. Now, for the other 6 spots, remember there's only 12 spots in the Xfinity Chase. Got John Henry Nemechek running full-time for GMS Racing. Justin Haley running full-time for Calling Racing, replacing Ryan Truex. Chase Briscoe running full-time for Stewart-Haas Racing. I think he'll be fine. Brandon Jones with Joe Gibbs. Ross Chastain, he's kind of bouncing around between 2 organizations. He has a 4-race deal, I believe, 3 or 4, with Calling Racing and in their second car. And then he'll be running with JD Motorsports. And he's proven that he can kind of run in that 10th to 15th area. So I think he'll be fine. And then Michael Annett, I mean, he's still in a junior motorsports car. They're only going down to 3 full-time teams this year, plus the number 8 car, all-star car, I guess is what they're calling it. So I think he's going to be fine, especially considering the competitiveness without, there's no Chip Ganassi racing this year. There's no Roush Fenway racing this year in Xfinity. And it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of competitiveness from the back markers. And if you look at the entry list for Daytona, there's JD Motorsports and, BJ McLeod Racing. There's one other team that they have 5 entries, and we only get a 38-car field. So that just shows how tough it is to get a full field and a competitive field with Xfinity. I mean, we still have some Cup Series guys. I think Brad Keselowski is running this race. For Team Penske, Jeffrey Earnhardt is running this race with a part-time schedule at Joe Gibbs, I believe. So there's still some competitive cars that'll be rotating. There's that Junior Motorsports All-Star car, like we mentioned earlier. I can't remember who's running that for Daytona, but I'm sure you'll find out. But notables that won't make the chase, there's not much to choose from. Joey Gage, Jeremy Clements, those are really the only 2. Even mid-pack cars that I can think of that would really be devastated not to make the chase, honestly. I can't think of anybody else. So let's move on to the newly named NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Of course, I'll still call it the Truck Series. That's what I've always called it, regardless of whether it was Craftsman or Camping World. So the most likely is we got Brett Moffitt driving for GMS. Johnny Sauter just announced yesterday, as the day I'm recording this, that he will be racing full-time for Thor Sport, returning to that team after he was unceremoniously kicked out of GMS Racing for some strange reason. Ben Rhodes, Thor Sport, and Grant Enfinger, Thor Sport as well. I think those 4 will be fine. I'm looking for Rhodes and Enfinger to really have a good season. Rhodes kind of broke out of the gate a little bit last year, finally got his first win, I believe. I can't remember. And Enfinger also did really well last year. So I look for those 4 drivers to most likely be in the playoffs. The last 4 drivers, only 8 drivers in the truck playoffs. We got Stuart Friesen returning for another season. I'm expecting that team to kind of take another gradual step up. It stepped up its game each season. He still hasn't gotten that first win yet, but he has been darn close so many times. Matt Crafton had a rough season last year by his standards, but I think he'll bounce back a little bit, especially considering the lack of competitive rides in the series this year. Todd Yoland running his second full-time, well, really his first full-time season, because he had to miss a couple races at the beginning of last year. But really his second full-time season as far as seat time. And Harrison Burton running his first full-time season. I think both of those cars will get in. So, with that being said, these are the cars being left out. Sheldon Creed, he's running his first full-time season with GMS Racing. And Austin Hill, he's replacing Brett Moffitt at the reigning championship Hattori Racing, or Hattori Enterprise, or whatever it's called. So, really, there's not that much. I did originally have Myatt Snyder on this list, but it was announced that he will only be running a part-time schedule. So, really, there's not a ton of discrepancy. I could easily see either Creed or Hill making it in, depending on how Hill does with Hattori. Creed, obviously, GMS Racing, a good team. But I could easily see either of those go in over maybe a Harrison Burton. I could easily see that. But that's my predictions. I'm not going to be making any bold championship predictions because I don't think really I could make any sort of educated guess, especially with all of the stuff that's up in the air in the Cup Series this year. And all the new faces, new full-time teams in Xfinity with John Hunter Nemechek running full-time, Justin Haley, Chase Briscoe, all those guys, Austin Cindric getting a full-time ride with only one team, stuff like that. There's so many undecideds. I mean, the best guess I could probably make would be the Truck Series, but even then you got Moffitt going to a new team, Sauter going to a new team, Gilliland running his first full season for points, Burton running his first full season for points. There's so many unknowns. But yeah, that's going to be it for this prediction video. Let me know in the comments what you think of my predictions and make your own predictions in the comments. Feel free to tell me who you think is going to win the championship in the various series. Once we get closer to the chase, I'll make a more accurate predictions video as far as who's going to win the championship, who's going to make it to the Final Four, stuff like that, like I do every year. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to see more content from ATF Gaming, be sure to hit that red subscribe button. It really means a lot to me, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.